Hi there, this is Jonathan Ginsberg. I'm a Social Security disability attorney, and today I'd like to talk to you about trends I'm seeing in the Social Security world. And I'm recording this in the middle of 2016, June of 2016. And every year around this time I try to do a video where I sort of give my overview of what I think is going on, what I'm seeing, trends I'm seeing. And so this is the time to do that. So here's what I'm seeing. First of all, which is I think a positive, is that the approval denial rates by administrative law judges seems to have leveled out. In 2015, about 45% of hearing decisions were favorable, 55 were unfavorable. 2014 was exactly the same thing. Now, up until 2014, it had been steadily dropping. It had gone from about 62% down to 45%, and so a lot of folks were predicting we were headed towards 40% or even 30s, but I think that may have leveled out. I think that for whatever reason, I guess here attorneys are taking cases that are stronger cases to go to hearing, and folks who don't have attorneys are not applying for hearings. So the hearing decision rates seem to have leveled out. My guess would be we may even start to see them creep upward a little bit as better cases are coming in front of the judges. That's number one. Number two, which may be somehow associated with that, is that what I'm seeing judges are looking for is more objective evidence. So cases where people are complaining of chronic pain, but there's no objective evidence for it. Again, I'm specifically talking about fibromyalgia or RSD, things like that. Those are more difficult cases to win. And so again, I think you're seeing fewer attorneys take those cases, although we'll still take them if they're really strong, good medical support. But having a GP or your internist say you've got fibromyalgia is not going to be enough, basically. But what I'm seeing is cases where we have objective evidence, MRIs, CT, even X-ray, Doppler studies for DVTs and ultrasounds, things like that. Those cases are being approved because judges can tie their decision to objective medical evidence. So I think cases where there is objective medical evidence and good support from a doctor, those are still winners. It's just, again, cases where there's not much medical support, those cases are not being approved. And I realize that can be a problem because sometimes folks can't afford to go to the doctor, and yet they're being punished because there's no medical records. But that's what we're seeing. Third trend I'm seeing is an increased use by judges of the grid rules. And I've done a number of videos about this, and you can also look at my site, gridrules.net. But the grid rules basically look at folks who are over age 50 with a limited education and unskilled work background or limited skilled work background, and you can be approved even if you have some capacity to work. And the reason I think the grid rules are becoming more popular amongst judges is it does not require as much evaluation of evidence. They've simply got to make a decision about your capacity, your education is an objective type of thing, your past work, whether it's skilled or unskilled or has transferable skills, that's kind of an objective determination. So it makes it easier for the judges to plug in a case if they feel the person is credible. And I think also folks who are over age 50, because the grid rules really only apply to folks over age 50 with physical injuries, typically you have a longer work history, you're more credible, and I think judges just like using the grid rules. So if you can fit into one, that's really a good place to look. Because I think that Social Security finds it much easier to deal with those cases as opposed to making a more detailed medical evaluation under a functional capacity theory of disability. So third trend is we're seeing more in the grid rules. And the fourth trend, which is not a good one, is that the delays are back. There was a few years there where Social Security had really made some headway in reducing the hearing delays. Here in Atlanta where I practice, it could be 18 to 20 months to get to a hearing. From the time you request a hearing, it had gotten down to a little bit over a year. Same in other places. It had really been reduced by a good percentage, 25-30% reduction in the delays. And now, 2016, we're back up to record delays. And again, that may simply be a function of more cases that judges have to go through, fewer judges. I know there's been a real push to bring more judges online. That has not happened yet. Fewer personnel at the Social Security hearing offices to help the judges. A lot of different factors. I think another one is that the computer system that Social Security invested in had to be basically thrown away. They spent millions of dollars on a computer system that did not work, and now they got to start over again. So that's going to push it back another 4 or 5 years before we probably see any significant change in the delays. So if you are applying for benefits, there's no reason to wait. Go ahead and do so. I think second thing would be if you can meet a listing, that's the easiest way to get an approval quickly. And of course, when you do get denied, if you do get denied, file your appeal quickly and file it online. That will speed things up as much as you possibly can. But unfortunately, you got to be prepared to wait, because it's going to take, depending on where you are, a year and a half to 2 years to get to a hearing, and that's in addition to the 8 months to 12 months that you've already waited for the initial and reconsideration. So it's not unusual to see cases somebody applied and they're going to a hearing 2.5 to 3 years after they applied. It's outrageous. It's ridiculous. I completely agree. But that's what we got to deal with. So those are some of the trends I'm seeing. So again, some good, some not so good, some just are. Any case, if this is helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube and like it on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can learn about how some ideas I've got to speed things up and how to win. If I can be of assistance to you personally, please reach out to me as well. Jonathan Ginsberg here. I hope to hear from you soon. Thanks a lot.